Mowgli, what do you want?
Hey, so I just wanted to get your thoughts on you mentioned yesterday that Bullis is not Paul, right? Is that right?
Yes.
Why?
No. What was your claim?
My claim is that Bullis in Ibn Kathir's tafsir is Paul.
Okay, and tell me about Bullis in tafsir Ibn Katheer. What does he do?
He goes to Antioch, right? He's one of the guys.
What happens there? Is he accepted or rejected?
I have to reread the tafsir.
In the tafsir, is he accepted or rejected?
I'm not sure.
He's rejected. Okay. And what happens to the city of Antioch? Oh, what happens to that city in that story in Ibn Katheer?
I don't know.
It's destroyed for that reason. Okay. So my question to you is this: was Antioch destroyed, and was Paul rejected there?
It wasn't destroyed. I know that.
And was he rejected or accepted in Antioch?
I think he was accepted, wasn't he?
Okay, so 2 out of the 3 is incorrect.
Who is Bullis if it's not Paul?
So that's the first thing. So the first thing you have to understand is where it mentions Bullis, the city's destroyed, and Paul is rejected, which is the antithesis of what happened to Paul. Antioch was the foundation of Pauline Christianity. Complete opposite. And the other thing you have to understand is these are just reports that Ibn Katheer is reporting that's been said. He's not verifying it. He's not confirming it. He's not saying it's true. He's just, here's something about this particular matter.
Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Christian apologist and missionary is trying so hard to lie about the Holy Quran to impose Paul on Muslims. All they have done is a distortion for the Islamic interpretation of the Holy Quran, like interpretation of Al-Jalalain and Qurtubi, and they build their argument based on their distortion. Sam Shimon quote 2 verses from the Holy Quran to impose Paul on us. He quote Surah As-Saf, chapter 61, verse 14, which says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا كونوا أنصار الله كما قال عيسى ابن مريم للحواريين من أنصاري إلى الله قال الحواريون نحن أنصار الله فآمنت طائفة من بني إسرائيل وكفرت طائفة فأيدنا الذين آمنوا على عدوهم فأصبحوا ظاهرين. He quote also chapter 36, Surah Yasin, verse 13, 14, all the way to verse 19, which start by saying واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم 2 فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون. صدق الله العظيم. Now, according to the Islamic interpretation and Islamic sources of the Holy Quran, the interpretation by Al-Qurtubi, he said Paul was sent by Christ as the 3rd messenger to the village of Antakya because they rejected the first 2 messengers that he sent them. So therefore he sent the 3rd one, and his name was Paul. That's according to Islam. But according to Christianity and Christian faith, the village of Antakya was one of the first villages that have accepted Christ and his message. According to Islamic interpretation, says during the time of Christ on earth, Christ sent one of his companions by the name of Paul to Antakya because they rejected him. But in Christianity, during the time of Christ on earth, Paul was one of the enemies of Christ. So how could Christ send one of his enemy to the village of Antakya? Paul, for the Christian, came long time after Christ being raised up to heaven, but not during the time of Christ on earth, and he claimed to be Christian, which contradicts Christians' faith. So how can Christ send Paul, and Paul was his enemy, and he came long time after Christ was raised up to heaven? Having the name Paul in the Islamic interpretation of the Holy Quran does not mean that he is the same person. If you consider him to be the same person, that contradicts Christianity. Because according to Al-Jalalain that you quote as well, he said that Jesus sent his disciple during his time on earth. And according to Christianity, Paul was not even one of the disciples of Jesus during his time on earth. And those are the names of the disciples of Jesus Christ, the 12 disciples. You cannot find even the name of Paul among them. So when you claim that he was sent by Christ during the life of Christ on earth, that contradicts your teachings. Because first, he was an enemy of Christ during his time on earth, and no one of his disciples was named as Paul. The Bible has the same thing. You have the name John. You have John the Baptist. And you have John, son of Zebedee. And you can read this, Matthew chapter 3, verse 1, about John the Baptist. And you can read 6 or 7 times about John, son of Zebedee. So they both have the same John, the same name. So they are different persons with the same name. So when we say that Paul was sent by Jesus, Isa alayhi salam, so it is not necessary to be the same Paul that you want to impose on us as Muslims in the Holy Quran or in the Islamic interpretation. Let me tell you what Al-Qurtubi says about Paul that you believe in the Bible. You quote Al-Qurtubi. If you read chapter 4, verse 171, when you read the interpretation of Al-Imam Al-Qurtubi, he says, according to Paul, Paul said, if the truth is with Jesus, then we have disbelieved and denied him. And our destiny is to the fire, and I will continue to deceive them and his companion and mislead them, and they will enter hellfire with us. So that was the mission of this Paul that you are talking about in Christianity, according to Imam Al-Qurtubi, whom you quote in your speech to support your false claim. I hope that this answers your misconception. Once again, Mr. Sam Shimon, and to all Christian missionary and apologists. If you want to learn about Islam, please learn about Islam from the Islamic sources according to Muslims. And when you look into the Islamic sources, read them in an Islamic context, not a Christian context. So all you have done here is a distortion just to suit you and to fit your needs as a Christian missionary, to impose your Paul on Muslims like you impose your Jesus and Trinity on the Jewish Tanakh. I hope that this is your answer. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Peace be with all of you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.